All week you just kind of felt this almost state of shock still, and it's just an unprecedented event on a football field. And you went from the most electrifying atmosphere that I've maybe been in a football stadium, just incredible in there, to dead silent just a matter of minutes later. And as football players, as broadcasters, we're used to a certain level of football injury. The injuries happen within the game. We
Right.
always said when I was playing, the injury rate in the NFL is 100%. And so you move on at times of injuries. And I've gotten carted off and put in an ambulance after a Joe Theismann leg break, but this was so much different. So much different. You could tell by the look of panic on the players' faces, the coaches, the medical teams, and CPR being administered to a 24-year-old man. I mean, just heartbreaking to see. But as this week has gone on and the news has gotten progressively better up into today, where Damar was able to FaceTime with the team, tell the guys that he loved them. I mean, it's been so powerful. And ultimately, as a man of faith, I assumed, I knew that there would be something good that would come from this, and you hope that that would be a good bill of health for Damar. But to see the country come together the way it has been special this week.
Yeah, I think because it was a Monday night game, it was like it was almost a shared experience. We were all watching. It wasn't like you had the country watching 10 different games. Eric, you heard we did a story yesterday. As a matter of fact, Troy Aikman said, "Hey, Joe Buck's been around for for 2 decades plus, and I think that was his finest moment behind a microphone." I think you even had it harder because you don't have the benefit of the picture, the photo, the video, right? You have to just describe everything. In your what was going through your mind? I mean, you're calling this so it's such an important football game, but then it's literally life and death. And I mean, you had no time to prepare. I mean, what was going through your mind, and what were you feeling in those moments when you were calling a football game 1 second and now you're watching a man who is legally dead, I guess, on the field? What were you
Yeah,
thinking?
you prepare all week to call a football game, and then that dramatically changes, and you have to be respectful of the situation. And it almost felt like it needed a moment of silence, but you have to fill the airwaves, and you're trying to communicate what the scene is down on the field. Up into our sideline guy talking about Damar Hamlin's mom trying to get onto the field, and she can't even get onto the field because there wasn't a gate right there. So security did a great job of getting her to the field and to the ambulance, but she's in a panic, which I can't even imagine in that instance. And so we're trying to describe this in this emotional state that just really everybody is in. And you're trying to say the right things without knowing what the heck the right thing to say is. And our tone went from talking to me as a former player about, you got to just put it behind you. Look, all these guys have things going on in their lives that they put behind them to go play the game of football. Life doesn't go on hold through a football season. To, okay, this is so dramatically different that if I'm on the Buffalo Bills right now and they say you have to go out there and play, I say forfeit the game.
Right.
Oh well, we'll go to Kansas City. We'll go wherever we need to in the playoffs if we lose this game. But I cannot go out on that football field without knowing what the ultimate status of Damar Hamlin is.
Yeah, incredible. Now, we mentioned these positive updates that we've received, and like you said, even Damar well enough now breathing on his own, and was able to FaceTime the guys before practice, which I can only imagine what that did for them mentally and emotionally. Week 18 here now, Eric. Obviously, there's some stuff with seeding and whatnot, but as the team goes into the playoffs now, what's the mindset as a guy who's around the players on a day in, day out basis? What's the mindset now? It's been a tremendous season, but obviously this season's going to be judged by what happens over the next couple of weeks for this team. So what's the mindset given everything that's happened?
It's win for Damar. Honored Damar with our play on the field throughout the playoffs. And look, the Bills had a lot to play for this season because of all the adversity. It starts with the racially motivated mass shooting in Buffalo over the spring and summer of last year. And then it comes into the season, and the owners, Kim Pagula, she's sick. And then it's the loss of Dawson Knox's brother, the weather, moving games, the over 40 people die in a snowstorm in Buffalo, and the list goes on. They've had so much adversity and so much to play for, and this just adds to it. This is the most recent and just so incredibly powerful. A guy that is so well loved in the locker room almost loses his life, and now his dad relays the message first, and then Damar is saying, hey, go out and get this one. This is what I would have wanted you to do. I don't want you to sit there and sulk. I want you to go out and win this game. And I can't imagine the emotion and the effort and the passion that you would play with in a game motivated like that.
Yeah, with all those things you just mentioned that the city has gone through. I remember, I'm a Yankee fan. I remember in 2001 after September 11th, I always felt like that was fate, and unfortunately, it didn't happen for the Yankees. There, they actually lost a heartbreaker against the Diamondbacks. But it always felt like that was fate, and like it was meant to be. Do you kind of get that sense with this team now? Given everything that's happened, Eric, that it's meant to be the year for the Bills to win a Super Bowl.
I do, and I felt that way before the season. You just had this buildup of this Sean McDermott, this Terry Pagula, Brandon Beane, the ownership and front office completely aligned for so long, and just building this roster and building this roster. And look, injuries, including Damar, but also Von Miller, Micah Hyde, and a number of others. It makes it a little bit tougher at this point. The Bills start the season as the unanimous betting favorite to win the Super Bowl, and these injuries have derailed some things. It's games being moved and a lot of adversity that these Bills have had to deal with. But in my mind, it does feel like destiny. If you go back to the early 90s, the Bills lost 4 straight Super Bowls, but they made 4 straight Super Bowls. Yeah. Prior to that, they lost in the AFC Championship game and then the divisional round, then 4 straight Super Bowls. 2 years ago, the Bills losing the AFC Championship, last year divisional round, and it just seems like a really strong run is coming.